Okay, picture this. You've got two business owners talking. One says, you know that whole day you spend every month building an ad campaign? I do that in 60 seconds. Sounds crazy, right? Well, that's the claim we're digging into.
So let's talk about this promise. We're talking about taking hours, literally hours, of creative work and squishing it down into the time it takes to check your email. How's that even possible?
And look, we're not talking about one little ad here. This is the whole shebang, a full ad package, 3 different concepts, images for all the different placements, all the copy. I mean, that's an entire afternoon of work. And he's saying he gets it from a single prompt. 60 seconds. It's such a wild claim, it almost sounds made up. It just completely flips the script on how creative work gets done, which, of course, leads to the obvious question.
Yeah, this is where the skeptic in all of us kicks in. Come on, was it really a full afternoon every single time, or is that stretching it a bit? It's a fair question, right? Because the value of this whole thing really depends on how big the problem was to begin with.
And the answer? Yeah, it was a big problem. We're talking 15 to 20 hours of staring at a blank screen every single month. That's more than 2 full workdays. All of a sudden, that 60-second solution doesn't just sound cool, it sounds like an absolute game changer. So, how did you do it? Well, the secret isn't some kind of magic trick. It's all about building a dedicated little brain for the AI, teaching it to think like your best marketer, specifically for your brand.
At the heart of this whole system is something called a Claude skill. Now, forget about coding. Just think of it like a perfect, permanent creative brief. You've got one file that gives the AI its marching orders, and another file that's packed with all your company's knowledge, your research, your data, your brand voice. You build it once, and the AI knows your business forever.
And you've got to be specific. You can't just tell it, hey, make me some good ads. Nope. You feed its brain real numbers, actual benchmarks. You tell it, look, for home services, 0.70% click-through is average, but for lead gen, we're shooting for 1.5%. You give it a clear, data-driven target to aim for.
Now, here's a killer insight they discovered. Ads that look, well, real, like a screenshot or a note scribbled on a napkin, they crush those slick, polished, corporate-looking ads. We're talking by 40 to 65%. So they taught the AI that one simple principle, and suddenly, authenticity became rule number 1 for everything it created.
But, it wasn't a straight shot to success. The first attempt, it was pretty meh. The AI's output was just repetitive and kind of stale. And that's when they had the big breakthrough. You can't give an AI a template and tell it to copy. You have to give it principles so it can create.
And you can see that whole evolution right here. Version 1, with those rigid templates, was a total flop. But version 2, that's where the magic happened. They introduced creative principles like authenticity beats polish and use specific numbers to stop the scroll. That taught the AI how to think, which unlocked its creativity.
Then the final piece of the puzzle was just making it work in the real world. Ads have to be squares for the feed, they have to be vertical for stories, landscape for links. So version 3 taught the AI to be smart about it, to actually recompose the image for each format, not just lazily crop it.
So it sounds great in theory, an amazing system. But the skeptic comes back and asks, how do you know it actually works consistently? How do you trust this thing not to go completely rogue and blow your ad budget? The answer is, you test it. Rigorously.
So before they let this thing out into the wild, they put it through a super strict evaluation. They ran it for 3 completely different campaigns, and each one was graded against 12 rules that were absolute deal breakers. The final score? A perfect 36 out of 36.
And we're not talking about easy tests here. This was incredibly specific. Did it give you 3 totally different concepts? Did it give you the right 3 image sizes for each? Is the brand voice spot on? Are there any banned words? Are the stats accurate? This is how you build a tool you can actually rely on, not just a clever party trick.
So, what does this amazing output actually look like? Okay, get this. For a campaign about the problem of slow follow-up, here's a concept it came up with. The image is a contractor's invoice, but where the total should be, it just says, lost, responded 4 hours late. Wow. That's not just an ad, that's a story. It hits you right in the gut.
So after all that trial and error, a really clear formula started to emerge. A set of rules for getting amazing, creative work out of an AI partner every single time. So here are the big lessons. First, you've got to feed the AI specific data, not just vague instructions. Because, generic in
generic out. Second, give it principles and rules, not templates. That's what lets it be truly creative. And third, you have to test your system with a strict checklist to make sure it hits the quality bar every single time.
Which brings us right back to the ultimate business question, right? Saving 15 or 20 hours a month is fantastic, but what does that actually mean for your bottom line? What's the real ROI of getting all that time back?
And really, that's the whole point. This isn't just about being more efficient, it's about being more profitable. That time you save can go right back into growing the business. If you're curious what reclaiming those hours could mean for you, you can actually figure it out with the free Profit Pulse ROI calculator over at getprofitpulse.io/ROI-calculator. It's pretty cool to see what your own numbers look like.